The thing that's keeping you stuck isn't strategy. And I can tell you that because I've spent 50 grand on courses and I know that that's not the case. It's also not time either, because you're probably already making the content and you already know what's going on. It's definitely not knowledge, because you're the expert in your area. That's why you started the business that you started. What's actually holding you back is fear. And in this video, I'm going to prove it to you, because I know, because the exact same thing happened to me. I used to change my LinkedIn headline every single week. And every time I thought it was an amazing upgrade. And to be honest, if you looked at my LinkedIn profile from 18 months ago, I would be embarrassed, because it made me look like one of those gurus who says they can get you an extra 10K a month if you come and join their programs. Now, that was obviously true, something that I could do, but it's not what I'm about or who I'm about, and it was all focused on the strategy. Now, when I mentioned changing headlines before, if you saw that, I said that it was a bit of a dopamine hit and it made you feel good about yourself. But that's not actually the whole truth, right? Of course, it does feel like you've achieved something because you've done something that gives you the dopamine hit. Excuse me, it's mosquito o'clock here in Vietnam, so there's going to be a bit of buzzing around my head going on as we go through this video, but I'm going to persevere anyway. The thing that it really is fear, because you believe that if you can go behind something that sounds really professional, sounds really polished, is results-based, strategy-based, or tactic-based, that you can basically say that thing without putting yourself on the line in any way, without putting your personality out there. So then if somebody rejects that concept, it's very easy for you to blame the strategy, the headline, the other thing that is very procedural, rather than being about you and who you are. But this comes with a huge cost, and that's what we're going to dig into a little bit deeper in this video. When I first realized that, it was all about the personality gap, and I was talking to somebody who said, online, you seem like you're this much of the real person that you are. And when I first heard that, I didn't really understand it. But what I got from it was, I'm acting like this is my personality, when really there is so much more to me and who I am. And if you met me offline, hopefully now you see it a bit more in my videos, because I'm much closer to that real person, although not all the way, because I don't want to get cancelled. But I'm a much now bigger and truer personality to who I am online. And it makes a huge difference to a lot of the things that I'm doing. And it's not just that it means I get better results. It's also about how I show up and how I operate and how it feels to show up and operate. We're going to get into that a little bit more as well. So if you imagine, if you're somebody who really struggles to make content or to be consistent with your marketing, what that means is you're trying to do it in a way that doesn't really suit you. So you feel like you're trying to force yourself into a suit and follow other people's way of doing things. And that means that you don't really enjoy the marketing that you're doing. So it feels like a chore, therefore you probably start doing it, and then after a little period of time, you get sick of it, and it never gets to compound because you're not doing it for long enough for it to have any impact on your audience or the people that want to, get to know who you are. And that's not because you hate marketing, it's because you hate marketing in the way that you've been taught to do it. Because every guru, every person online will tell you there's a certain strategy, a certain way that you should post, a certain things that you should and shouldn't say. Don't be too weird, don't be too normal, try and keep it somewhere in that mid-ground. And to be honest, it's bollocks, right? So since I changed that, personally, I've been able to just show up. I can sit here like I am now in my garden on a Saturday afternoon, and I can record a video based on an idea that I've had. And I've not sat here and endlessly thought about what's that impact going to be? How's it going to make me look? Does it make me an authority? All I've done is sat and had a conversation with AI, how to outline that so that it comes across in the best way for you to be able to take the most from it. But mostly it means I can do it even if I don't feel like the most motivated to make videos, or I'm not like super inspired to do stuff. Like today, I've been out and around. I went to the cold plunge and the sauna earlier. I came back, had a nap, and I've got videos to make. So I sat down, this idea came to me while I was out earlier, and I was able to pull that together, pull out some more insights from having this conversation with AI, and then produce something that I can put out there that really gives people a flavor of how I do things now and how it's so much easier and more fun for me to do it this way. The T's feel so safe. Well, if you post like top fives or carousels with bits of information for people to follow, if that post then flops and nobody's interested in it and nobody watches it, you can blame that strategy, that tactic, that process, maybe those tips weren't interesting enough, whatever else. And it means that you're not impacted by it. You're not feeling like it's something that you did wrong. But if you're brave enough to tell from your own perspective something that you believe that's led you from where you were to where you are now, that you think people can watch and benefit from, and then that flops, you take it personally because you've been vulnerable and you've put yourself in a position where you've shared something and it's maybe not worked. Now, we could get into what flopping means or not, right? My videos don't get lots of views. I think the biggest video views I've had on these long form is about 100 so far. But I'm building this body of work and it's already leading to people buying my stuff from me and wanting to join my programs, right? And obviously I've done a lot of other stuff written before, but video is still pretty new to me. Yet I'm here, I'm putting out this information and I'm building that body of work from truly me, from my perspective. Nobody else can do this because they don't have the same perspective as I have. They've not been through the same experiences that I've been through. And you need to do that for yourself as well, because that is what makes you different from everybody else and what makes you worth buying. I am currently getting eaten alive by mosquitoes here. I'm not joking. This was the worst idea of time of day of where to record. We're going to keep going because there's not too much left for me to tell you. So I wanted to give a live example from a webinar I did recently. And someone came along and they were asking about, they were a leadership coach and they were asking some questions. And it reminded me of a former client I had called, I won't name him actually, but a former client I had who was a bit worried about showing personality because he was working with leaders and he said, these are executives, they're, you know, corporate board level. I can't be so out there. I can't be so me. I need to be professional. But the most successful people, executives, are usually ones with the best personalities, right? They didn't end up in their position because they're boring and because they don't have an edge. Like literally the leaders do have an edge. They don't follow the crowd. They do whatever they want to do, whatever they feel is the right thing to do. They lead. That's why it's called leadership, okay? And they're also people. So they're probably bored to death as we all are with the bland, boring, everyone following the same structure and framework. So you stand out even more being brave enough in an area like that. Career coaching the same. All of these other areas, if you actually stand out more as a human, people will respect that more than you just being one of 100,000 leadership or career coaches. Now, there's even higher stakes to this now than ever, and I'm not going to bang on about AI and lots more content because I've done that already before and you've seen that. But the stakes are higher than ever because you can't just post stuff now that doesn't have any personality or any of you in it. If you keep doing that, you're going to become invisible. There's more and more people being made redundant. They're coming into the expert business world. They're starting their own stuff. It's going to get more and more and more competitive. Everybody can produce content. And the only moat that's going to be left in 12 months is you and your personal experience and your personality. So you need to bring that into what you're doing and into your marketing. You really do. You need to be brave and step out of it and start doing that. Because again, as I mentioned at the beginning, that will also be easier for you to do because you don't have to pretend to be someone else. You can just make content as you, based on your experiences, your stories. You don't have to make them sound cooler. You don't have to polish them. You just tell it how you believe it is, because nobody can argue with that at the end of the day, right? People talk about being the top 1% and the top 1% of posters, the top 1% of world. You have an opportunity already to be the top 1. And the top 1 is out of 8 billion. And that's you. Because nobody else can be you. Only you can do that. So I really encourage you to be brave and start being yourself in your content. And I can also tell you the pattern I've seen time and time again when people do this. They stop giving as much of a shit about what they're putting out there. That means when they talk or when they post content, it sounds more natural. People respond to them better. They stay more consistent because they enjoy it. And they get messages like I got the other day after my webinar. Somebody messaged me and they said, I really love what you're trying to do. I really appreciate that you're going against the grain of what most other people are saying. It takes real conviction and guts to put yourself out in that direction. Now, hearing stuff like that not only gives me a boost, but it allows me to focus more on the process that I'm on and the results become a secondary. And you've heard that a million times, right? Focus on the process, the results will come. And you think, what does that actually mean? But it's that. If you're focusing on you, being more you, bringing more personality into what you do, you're going to get better results in the long run anyway, and you're going to have fun doing it. So what have you got to lose? So whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to carry on doing things the way you're doing, or whether you bring more personality into your content and really try and be yourself and share your message and your truth from your heart, understand that either way you're choosing, right? You're either choosing to stay bland, or you're choosing to give the real you a chance to show the world why it's doing what it's doing. And if you want to find out more about how I'm doing it and me sharing my daily views, then go and join my newsletter. The link's in the description, and I send an email out 7 days a week.